Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Project. I'm Laura Lynn of the Mama Pop Quilt Shop, and we're very happy to see you here today. Today, I'm going to show you how I break down a panel. Now, I've got a couple panels here just to show you. So, and of course, we've been working on our panel project. We've done number 5. It was a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the Christmas ones. So when you get a panel, sometimes it's a gift, sometimes you're finding it on the shelf for discount, or sometimes you just love it so much you just got to go and buy it. So some of these have come to me by many different ways of getting here. And I have this cute little 6-pack of cats, okay? So when I first look at this panel, after giving it a good pressing, you want to get most of the wrinkles out as much as you can so you have a nice flat surface to be cutting on. I notice it's very, very shy down here. Okay, very shy, very, very shy on the fabric. So if I wanted all these blocks to look the same for this quilt, I would have to go to the smallest spot. And now you'll see here it's got some tan and then some brown that borders out the kitties on every single block, okay? So if you wanted to use this tan part as a seam allowance, that's perfect, because I think that's probably all you're going to get out of this one. It doesn't even look like to be a ½ inch in that spot. Now, if you happen to have even more than that, that would have been lovely. You could probably ½-inched it all the way around, and then you've got a good little ¼ inch border to go between your seam allowance and your little cat project, or this little frame here itself, right? So I want to come in and I want to measure this. I'll take my big ruler. You can use a few rulers for this project. Depends on how big your panel is. Yeah, and maybe 3/8. So if you, oh, it's in shy down there too. So it looks like just shy of 3/8. Okay, so I'll have to go 1/4. So that kind of really determines of how you're going to be blocking this out. If you didn't like any of the tan, you can go butt right up against the border. If you don't like the border, you can come right up against, you can use the border as part of your seam allowance. There's many, many different things. Like you could be putting your seam allowance here. I'll just use this little blue marker so you can see. So if you wanted just that little brown border just to poke right out, that would be your seam allowance. You'd be cutting it there at 1/4 inch. If you wanted to use, and using this the cream as your seam allowance. If you didn't like the brown border, you come all the way over and you rest your ruler right on the 1/4 inch and you make a little mark, and then that's what's going to be your cut line. So this one's ends up going to be your sew line, okay? So it ends up being your choice on what you want to do. This irons away or fades away. I'm not too worried about it. Of what you can get out of your panel to begin with, okay? So since I can only get 1/4 out of this one, I'm going to have to go 1/4 around each one for the bottom and the top, but I could always go a little bit wider on the sides because I have 1.5 inches. You come here with your ruler, you have it butted up against your edge right here. Looks like I got 1.5 inches. So I can go 3/4 inch. So I can move this down here, cut 3/4 inch right in the center, and it's going to be even on both sides, okay? Up to you. The question is up to you, okay? All right, so you can have 3/4 inch on the sides and only 1/4 inch on the bottoms. Of course, it's not going to make a square block, but if you have fabric to manipulate that and make it square, that's completely up to you. Or you can make them just rectangular. It's completely up to you, right? So I like the 3/4 inch, and then we go there. Okay, and same over here. Like I said, that's a heat away or fade away marker, so it will disappear. Okay. And then you just work on one little section at a time, because this one was the shallowest without leaving a lot to be sewn to. There we go, see? And again, on the outer side here, you still want to go 3/4. You could use this as part of blocks to make. You could square it up. You could do something else with it. You could use it as part of sashing in between other projects. I mean, don't throw it away. Chop it up and do something with it. Okay. All right, there. And then same at the top. We'd want to make sure it's like the bottom, so 1/4 inch. So we're using the tan pretty much as our seam allowance. And then right in between these two right here, you have 1 inch. So you can go up 1/2 inch. So you got a 1/4 inch on the bottom, 1/2 inch on the top, or just go 1/4 and 1/4. You know, it seems like 1/4 and 1/4 would make the most sense since I'm already going 3/4 on the side. Okay. And there we go. There's one little kitty block all ready to rock. Okay. And now you could add sashing, you can build these out as a log cabin, you could use them as placemats, you could rearrange them and make a different wall hanging with just 4 of them, so you only like 4, or you're making pillows back to back. There's so many different things that you can do with them. So really just be open. You can make little placemats for your cats. Everybody's got their own, okay? So that's pretty much the kitty one, okay? Pretty much the basic square one there. Oops. There. And I'll just do the same for the other blocks. So let's just get those back here so I can show the other one. Okay. Over there, out of the way. Now this one here, because it's got a main panel piece in the center, okay, and then six little squares. So my idea to this was you could trim these out and put them down the sides, blocking them out with other blocks in between, keeping this as a nice centerpiece, either as a wall hanging or a table runner or something like that, something that welcomes everybody into the house, or like doing it that way, and then having this as the center and building it out with other things, and then turning these blocks into stockings, making applique of these pieces right here onto stockings for the whole family members, so it comes out every Christmas, it matches, it looks lovely. They'd also make perfect little mug rugs if you wanted to give a gift of mug rugs and a wall hanging, or, you know, table runner or something as a gift. Like there's just so many different ways. Now this one's a little bit different because, and that's the reason why I brought it out, it already has a unique little border already. So, and same down here, and then up at the top. So that's why I thought it still would be really nice as an applique onto stockings, or you know, some sort of wall hanging or something that's had in the mantle, anything like that. You can even turn them out to big Christmas ornaments or something like that, or stuff them or whatever. Hanging from the lights. Only limitation is your imagination. So you would want to be able to utilize the top of this holly, because the holly is really cute. You don't want to mess that up. Oh, the light's reflecting off the ruler. I'm sorry about that. You don't want to mess any of that up. You want to be able to come up with some sort of a seam allowance from there to accommodate, right? To be able to bulk it out. So it looks like we could probably get a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch off each trimmings of that. And then for this here, you'd still want to be able to come up good, even from that little red border. You'd need 2 inches minimum, because 2 inches would put you right there. And I'll show you with chalk here so you can see. There. Oh, sorry, I said 2 inches from the red border. Okay, hold on. There, I'm on the line. And I'll just show you chalk where that 2 inches is. So it'd be just enough for a seam allowance, and you'd be just riding the tips of those holly coming all the way down if you were to kind of square this block out, right? Same here on the side. So you can give yourself a little bit more room, give yourself maybe 3.5 inches or 2.5 inches from a certain line to make sure you're squaring it all up. And same here, you want to be able to allow enough for the small part of the holly to be shown on the little block there, okay? So that's another way to square it up. Do the best you can, or making sure the sides are equal and the top and the bottoms are equal, and every block that you're dealing with is the same size, okay, or close to thereof. You can always add a little bit of fabric here and there that complements the whole piece, okay? So, and then, you know, if you didn't like the holly, come in and just do the red. You could use the holly as part of the seam allowance. You know, it depends. You know, you don't want any green in it. You only wanted the green from the tree and the you know, the wreath and the garland hanging on. So I love this one. It's got beautiful little birds on it, and it's got I think it's a repeat from the top to the bottom. I think that's it. Yeah, it is. It's just so you get 2 of the same. Like I say, you could do so much with it. All right, like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Just be creative and think of how you can use it to utilize you, right? So all right, let's go here. I want to give myself. What's the difference in between the tops of those hollies and the bottom of these hollies? Looks like 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so we'd kind of want to go somewhere in between. So if we gave the top holly a 1/2 inch to be able to be used, That should give us a nice even cut on this block right here, okay? Let me turn this around so it's a little bit easier. Now you can pick and choose. If you wanted to cut that holly off, you didn't want to use it at all, then go ahead. Then you got yourself a nice little square of approximately 6 inches by 6 inches, and you can border that up 7-8 times, or like I said, put it in the center of a stocking. You know, it's all good. So if I was going 2 inches from the red line, I'm going to go 2.5 inches from the red line, and that's a nice cut. That should give me a nice little seam allowance on these blocks right here. And you may find that your panel's not square, and you may need to do some persuasion, maybe some iron and some little spritz, that sort of thing, then go ahead and do it. It's better to do it now. You may even have to spray it or steam it, and as it's pinned into place, you may have to use a couple of rulers to make sure you're squaring it up and it's looking good, but they're definitely worth it. And they gave you a good start and on a project, and very inspirational. All right, so 2.5, riding on the 2.5 line. Straight down, okay, and then of course square it up, and then here, I like the holly. I like the holly at the top, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to come up a good 1/2 inch top those hollies. So that puts me on the 1 3/4 line right here on that red, and that gives me a nice chunk of black fabric at the top, okay. Because they don't have to be square, they just need to be even, right? So they have to be, you know, all of them need to be 6.5 by 8 if that's what your block is. So I put my ruler on the 1/2 inch, oops, I didn't do it perfectly on the 1/2 inch there. There we go, 1/2 inch line there, because I know we don't have a lot of space in between these blocks here. Okay. We only have inch and 1/4. So I'm going just a 1/2 inch, and that gives me plenty. Okay. So I'm cutting on the one side first, and I'll come back and cut on the other side. It depends, you know, if you're ambidextrous with your ruler, then go ahead and go for it. I sometimes just want to be making sure I am doing a bang on. There we go. So that would be one little block. Okay. Just want to always give it the best. Okay, 2 little blocks, and then 3 little blocks. Sometimes you're not gonna get even cuts on the sides. For when the panel comes to you. A lot of times it's just not gonna happen, right? It's just the way they are, and they get warped as they're folded and tucked and, you know, kind of off stretched and stuff like that. So sometimes you can find some really, really good deals if you're willing to take the time to do some manipulation with the fabric. Okay, so and then I'm just gonna do the same with this one, is chop it all up. You know, okay, so that's a couple of little bits right there, and then I have one right here that I thought, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It kind of looks like the Coca-Cola Santa Man, but I thought pillows. So you could do it as a 2-sided pillow. Of course, you'd have to cut it, make sure all of the blue is equal around. If you don't like the blue, use it as a seam allowance. Use the green as a seam allowance. Whatever. There wasn't much to this panel. I think that was pretty much it. Like I probably paid it for 99 cents or something like that. It could be the center to a nice wall hanging and a wall hanging you're giving away as gifts. This is a pillow. This is a pillow. Make it one pillow. You could use this bit right here with the poinsettia and the berries as and holly as, you know, sashing in between, and then just build it or make a whole other project with it, right? So try to utilize the fabric that you have, and try not to let it go to waste. And always go for colors that are already in it to help accent your outsides. You don't have to add 15 layers to make it look good. You know, you can add a couple of thick ones, a couple of thin ones if you're trying to make it directional or trying to bulk it out this way or that way. They don't always have to be 4 inches around or 2 inches around and everything else like that. You can mix and match as long as you're making them even and Steven. Okay, gotcha. So thank you everybody for watching, liking, and subscribing. Hopefully these couple little tips and hits here will inspire you to pick up a panel when you see it on sale. If somebody gives you one as a gift, it inspires you to do something fun and unique with it, and maybe share a little bit back with them, okay? So get into the Christmas spirit, get cutting in your fabric, start busting your stash, and make yourself cute little projects. Take care, everybody. Big hugs from us. We'll see you tomorrow on the live stream where we're going to be finishing off our spool quilt from Cloud9 Fabrics. Okay, and well, it's their free pattern. You can join us there and get the free pattern in the chat, or you can go look it up. Okay, so happy to see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Big hugs. See you soon.